Hello everyone! In today's video, I will be talking about my personal experience in regards to applying to different universities in Ontario. Before I get into this video, I would like to apologize in advance for the quality and how this video may turn out overall. I don't plan on editing this as heavy as I hope to do in the future, so there probably won't be that many graphics or text to keep you engaged. This is simply just me talking about an experience. It's meant to be kind of informative, but not really. Since I will be covering many topics in this video, I will leave timestamps in the description below so you can skip to any part that may be relevant to you. And with that out of the way, let's get started. So, at a glance, this is the general timeline of the entire application process, which stems from the day I received my OUAC pin to the day I got my final offer. I'll be going into more depth about some dates, but before I start, I want to note that my high school was non-semestered, meaning that I take all 8 of my courses at the same time throughout the year. That might make a difference between my experience and yours, so please keep that in mind when I begin to talk about dates. Here are the significant dates during the process before the application deadline for equal consideration. I received my OUAC pin in, if I remember correctly, late October, which seemed to be later than many schools at the time when I talked to my friends. On that same day, I created an OUAC account and applied to all the programs I was interested in, with some help and insight from my dad. I was mainly interested in nursing programs. When deciding which programs I was going to apply to, my criteria was basically, if I pursue this program, will I get a degree that will help me get a job in the future? Will I like the content that I'm going to be learning in this program? Will I be interested in the type of work that I'll be doing in the ideal profession after that program? So it's just a lot of things to take into account. Here's the ranked list of the 6 programs I applied to. First choice program was the Medical Radiation Sciences program, McMaster. My second choice program was the Main Site Nursing program that was also held at McMaster. My third choice was Ryerson Nursing. Fourth choice was York Seneca Nursing. My fifth choice was Queen's Nursing. And finally, my sixth choice was U of T Life Science at St. Michael's College. Since I already applied and paid for the application fees very early and before the application deadline for equal consideration, I had a chance to receive early admission, which is what happened on December 5th when I received early admission to Ryerson Nursing. I forgot exactly when the application deadline for equal consideration was for the 2020 school year, but I believe it was around early to mid-January. I could be very wrong though. But aside from a portion of my top 6 marks being submitted to each university around November, nothing else really significant happened, so that is why I will be now moving on to some significant dates after the equal consideration deadline. From mid-December to early March, this was around the time when we already had access to our applicant portals for each university, and where we could also complete or find more information regarding any supplementary applications. If you don't know what I mean by applicant portals, once you apply to a program on OUAC, you're going to receive an email shortly from the university that you apply to. It tells you to create an account, and on that portal, you can check for any letters regarding admission, if you got accepted or not. That's what an applicant portal is basically. Then around mid-January, my Queen's General Personal Statement of Experience application for the nursing program was due then. In my PSE, I just simply had to write about any awards, extracurriculars, and work experiences I've done within the last 4 years, as well as provide them with how much time I've dedicated to each of the activities I mentioned, along with a short paragraph describing the lessons and an impact a particular opportunity had for me. Something that was really bothersome when I was filling out the PSE was the fact that after staying on the webpage for a considerable amount of time, the page would glitch in a way where once I pressed save, it didn't actually save and I couldn't really do much about it. The first 2 times I didn't realize what was going on, so I lost a lot of work over it. And luckily when it happened for the 3rd time, I had copied all my answers down onto a different document, so I didn't lose my work entirely. With that being said, it was still not fun to have all my work deleted a couple of times, so there's that, but that was partially on me. On February 20th, the first round of the McMaster Medical Radiation Sciences offers came out, and it was based off my top 6 average only, which is great, because I honestly thought I wouldn't get in. On February 24th, this was the day of my CASPER test for the McMaster nursing program. Since I had already gotten accepted into the medical radiation science program at McMaster, I didn't really feel too stressed about doing well on this test because I had already gotten to my first choice program. But since I paid around $150 just to take this test, I decided to try my best anyways, otherwise it would be a complete waste of money. In terms of the test itself, it wasn't as bad as most people made it out to be. It was stressful in terms of timing because you only had 5 minutes to type out answers to 3 open-ended questions for over an hour straight. But I honestly didn't find the questions difficult to answer because I just wrote out what I would personally do in the situations mentioned, as well as briefly explaining the ethics behind each of my decisions. How hard the Casper is really depends on you. I do find that it helps a lot if you are a fast typer. Honestly, it wasn't that big of a problem, and it really did test my adaptability skills, which I was actually kind of glad to have some practice in for that. After I finished my Casper test, I decided to randomly check my Seneca York nursing applicant portal to see the status of my application, and to my surprise, I got in. So the thing about my nursing application though for that program is that unlike most of the other conditional offers I received, they usually ask me to maintain an average of 86% and above, but Seneca York nursing program expected me to maintain the average that I had when I applied, but since that wasn't my first choice program anyways, I didn't really stress too much about that conditional. So the next day, on February 25th, I received my offer to the University of Toronto St. George campus Life Sciences program at St. Michael's College. Just like the McMaster MRS, Seneca York, and Nursing Ryerson programs, my admission was purely based on my top 6 marks, and although I did not have to fill out a supplementary application for the Life Science program at the St. Michael's College, I know that many of my friends who applied to the Life Science program at Trinity College needed to answer a 3-question supplementary application. If you are applying to the University of Toronto, just keep in mind that different colleges may have different admission processes when you apply to these programs. On February 28th, the round 1 of the Queen's nursing offers came out. I only knew that because my friend received an offer from them, but I didn't get an email about it. On March 11th, the round 2 of the Queen's nursing offers came out and I got accepted into the program. I don't know why I didn't receive an offer the first round, but I really think it had to do with my top 6 average. I had a 91 top 6 average at around the time when the round 1 offers came out, and my friend who got an offer the first time had an average of around 93, so that's why I think I got my offer the second round just a bit later. But then again, this is what I think what happened, and I don't really know the real reason why, so please don't take my word for it. Fast forward to May 14th. After schools closed down due to COVID-19, I received my offer to the McMaster nursing program, and I was really happy and really surprised to have been accepted to it because out of the 6 programs I applied to, that was arguably the hardest one. My nursing offer came out 2 days after the McMaster Health Sciences offers came out, which I was believe on May 12th, and that's pretty much it for the timeline of my entire applying to Ontario University experience. Deciding between different programs. So while applying to these different programs was already a hard task in itself, for me personally it was just so much more difficult to decide which program I wanted to go into. Because at some point I was like really doubting, do I really want to become a radiation tech in the future, or would I rather become a nurse, or do I really want to pursue medical school and taking a nursing undergrad or a medical radiation science undergrad just wouldn't be the ideal route. I will be going into the factors that I consider in terms of choosing the program that I eventually decide to go into. So I decided to eliminate certain programs first based on what the type of program it was. And that's why I split it into 3 categories, which was medical radiation sciences, nursing, or life sciences. Let's talk about life sciences first. The first program I eliminated was the life science program at the University of Toronto. The reason why I applied to the program in the first place is actually really bad because U of T was kind of my safety school, and my parents wanted me to apply to at least one program at U of T. I personally did not want to. But aside from that terrible reason on why I applied to this program in the first place, the factors that made me choose any other program over this one came down to job security and the reputation of the school itself. For job security, life sciences is one of those programs where ideally the next step is to pursue graduate school or continue your studies past a bachelor's if you want to find a job, quote unquote, easily. Personally, I'm not very interested in graduate school or studies because it will take many years off of you, which is something that I am not willing to do. I have my own business ideas and projects and goals I would like to pursue in the future eventually, and I know that I would simply not have the time to do so if I were to pursue something such as medical school. The next factor, which is the reputation of the school, was actually the biggest reason as to why I wanted to stray away from U of T. Although it is considered as one of the top universities in the world, there are just many myths about the school being a GPA killer. And while those rumors may or may not be true, and it really does depend on the individual itself, I think it is a very good idea to really listen to experiences from other students about each university, because I truly value the importance of a good mental and social environment for school, and I just didn't get that vibe from U of T based off of everything I was hearing from people. Now let's talk about nursing. The second program I eliminated were the nursing programs. Now, I was having a really hard time debating between McMaster Nursing versus McMaster Medical Radiation Sciences because not only are these two programs absolutely amazing, both of these professions require you to work with patients directly, which is something that I am really interested in doing, and also there will be a demand of both of these professions in the future. I put McMaster Nursing as my first choice nursing programs because this program employs a very unique way of experiential learning, which I think is really important for a profession that requires a lot of practice and experience. Although I would love to experience the type of learning done in McMaster Nursing, the reason why I decided not to choose this program was because I'm simply afraid of messing up big time if I were to become a nurse. A patient's health and well-being will be in my hands, and I just don't feel entirely confident in myself to be placed in that position yet. I was just more interested in the different types of specializations that medical imaging had to offer, such as ultrasonography, radiation therapy, as well as radiography. I've always had a fascination with MRIs and CT scans since I was pretty young, which is why I chose to accept my medical radiation science offer instead, because I wanted to try this career out since it just seemed very cool to me. Now onto the section that is probably the most useful, questions. So here are the questions I collected from some incoming seniors from my school. Number 1. How does OUAC work and how do you start the process? Basically, OUAC is a site that gives all of the necessary information about you to the different universities that you apply to. All of your grades, contact information, fees to be paid, and offers will be shown on OUAC. In terms of how you start the process, the most important thing you need is your OUAC pin or OEN pin. I honestly forgot the name. It's a pin, whatever. So this pin will be given to you in an enclosed letter by your guidance counselor, which you'll need to create an account. Once you have that pin, just follow the steps to creating an account on the OUAC website and you should be good to go. I highly recommend that you do record all your passwords and usernames to every account you create for university because you don't want to forget it. These numbers and usernames and passwords are going to be so important later on. Number 2, do universities look at grade 11 marks? So if your program does do early acceptance, then they can give you an offer based off of your grade 11 marks. But don't worry, if your grade 11 marks weren't the best per se, then it wouldn't affect your chances of admission at all because they'll just look at your top 6 marks in grade 12 instead. Generally, more competitive programs only look at your grade 12 top 6 marks, so don't be too worried about your grade 11 marks. The third question is, what was your average in grade 11 and grade 12? My grade 11 average was a 93 and my top 6 grade 12 average was a 92. As much as marks are important, I know that many people who had an 86 average got into several programs as well, so please don't get too stressed if you're not hitting the average that you want. The next question, are extracurriculars worth more than your average when you apply to your program? This will definitely vary based on the program and what they require. Most programs only require you to reach a certain average, while the more competitive programs such as McMaster Health Sciences, Waterloo Computer Science, Queen's Commerce, and even the McMaster Nursing program I applied to does heavily take your supplementary application into account. once you meet a certain cutoff average. What experiences would be important, and how would you find those opportunities now because of COVID? Although any type of volunteering and work opportunities will allow you to gain a new set of skills and experiences that may be valuable in whichever profession you decide to pursue, you should try to opt for volunteer or work opportunities that are related to your program or the type of environment that you'd eventually be working in. Despite the fact that we're currently in the middle of a pandemic, there are still so many opportunities available for high school students out there, and you can honestly just Google for volunteer or job opportunities in your city, or keep an eye out for help wanted posters around some shops. I know that guidance, especially in high school, they're very helpful when it comes to scholarship opportunities, volunteering opportunities that they may come across, and they will definitely post about it. I know that my guidance counselors posted about that. For anyone that is watching this video that identifies or have been identified as female, I will leave a link in the description below to Flick's website, which is a portal that allows other females to take an apprenticeship under another female leader. And finally, someone asked, if I accept an offer but accept another one later, will my original offer still be valid? No, it will not. Before you can accept a different offer, you have to cancel your first offer before you accept the next one, and that one won't be valid anymore. So if you really don't know what you're doing yet, just don't accept any offers until you really made up your mind. Overall, if I had to say something about the experience in general, is that it was really easy. It's not as scary and difficult as a lot of people really make it out to be. But just make sure you do your research beforehand to really know what you're getting yourself into before you make these really important decisions in your life. I'm sorry for the length and quality of this poorly made video, but I hope that it could help at least one person out. Maybe 1, 2, 5 hopefully. If you're interested in applying to UBC, Karen from Rose Thorns and Honeydew made a very helpful video on applying to UBC and tips, which I will link in the description below. If you have any more questions for me, feel free to message me on Instagram at MRSSeal, and follow me if you would like to see my journey into becoming a radiation tech one day at McMaster University. Woo! Anyways, thank you for watching this video, and I wish all of you the best of luck for the upcoming application season.